welcome everyone. This Friday's webinar will be about passwordless authentication and a few words about multi-factor authentication and about security. Hope that you are all of you security aware since you are here and following this webinar, because security today is becoming of utmost importance, more important than ever. A few words about me also. Victor said also a few things about me. My name is Sasha, and I'm an Azure MVP and certified trainer and MST regional lead as well as AC Council instructor and member of the advisor board in Microsoft for the certifications world. So if you have any questions, you have also the email here for Informator at the end. A few words about multi-factor authentication and about accordingly about passwordless authentication. So why multi-factor authentication? You've probably seen numbers all around the internet, and today, since we are in the cloud era, of course, well, it is known that our data is no longer residing in between four walls. So the attacker's surface, the attacker's low-hanging fruit is no longer actually is between four walls in our file servers, but actually the identity's new control plane, since the focus on the data, the focus on the attacker's focus have shifted a little bit. So one of the statistics is that if you implement multi-factor authentication these days, any kind of multi-factor authentication compared to the authentication where you don't have a second factor authentication, is better in 99% of the cases. Well, there are different studies. Some studies says 95, some say 99.9, but nevertheless, it's one of the Microsoft studies actually say that you will be better protected and have 99% less chance of being hacked or have credentials stolen if you implement any kind of multi-factor authentication. And since today, multi-factor authentication in Microsoft 365, in Office 365, and in Azure is actually is free. So there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't implement that. I know that when we look at the companies, and if we want to implement these, the biggest challenge is actually a user adoption and friction. So in implementing that, so we people, the users, actually are resistant to any kind of change, of course, and that's natural to being a human. And but the important part is actually to introduce to the users the benefits and to actually gradually introduce multi-factor authentication and make it less painful for them to use it. So a few emails in the light of the introduction of multi-factor authentication are very, very useful. And we've mentioned in yesterday's webinar that you will be able to see that we talked about well, and the day before we talked about security, and the best way to use multi-factor authentication in Azure and in Microsoft 365 is actually through the conditional access, if you have it, and in a way that you implement multi-factor authentication as non-aggressive approach. So what does it mean? It means that you shouldn't be as pushy as and very harsh in implementing that. Meaning there is also possibility to implement, let's say, safe haven or trusted IP addresses and trusted IPs and trusted countries in MFA implementation, so the users won't be getting all the notifications all the time. So we want to, in implementing MFA, we want to decrease the number of decrease the noise, let's say, that the MFA would generate in order to trigger only the challenge when it's needed. So whether through the conditional access in this case, when the intelligence behind Microsoft Cloud actually detects that something happened, for example, impossible travel or unusual user behavior, and then it will actually a user be challenged to use the MFA while staying let's say protected and free of repeated multi-factor authentication challenges where actually it does not need to be done so, for example, in trusted IPs or trusted IP addresses, or even in between in certain countries. So depending on how we implement conditional access. But the point is that even better solution is passwordless authentication. Today is this feature is still in preview, and one caveat. So even Microsoft says so. Every feature that is actually in preview, it doesn't have a support. So I mean, you can test it. It is available, but it's not. It's just for testing. So you should be careful when you implement any feature that is in preview. So why? Because the preview means that this is the feature has been made for you to test it, and two outcomes can exist for that feature that is in preview. So either the feature will be generally available or made GA. That means that it is fully available for use, and it has its own service level agreement and pricing sometimes, and so on. And the other reason is the other outcome would be that the unlikely but probable that the feature is not available after the preview period. So that's also possible. So you want to actually stay alert and actually ensure that you don't introduce into the production or into the sensitive operations these features. But if you do so, then you have to have also the, let's say, a parachute or like safety net. So you have to think about what are the options that if that feature is not longer available, what are our options? Are we gonna be able, in this case, in MFA, log into our tenant? So that don't apply just for this MFA feature, but to others as well. But anyway, let's go to the passwordless world. And Microsoft strongly resides on implement and actually advertises, or actually is fond of the passwordless authentication, because it's one step more secure than just MFA authentication. Why? Because it's more secure. So it can be done through the Windows Hello for Business, which is available on Windows 10 machines today, and through the Microsoft Authenticator and third-party keys as well, like FIDO keys. And it is secure since the login information is tied to a device and to a something that we have, like a key and password and login information. So approach to the passwordless world actually was a wish from a long time ago. So we first had the development and deployment of these options, and the point is that we reduce user visible password or usable password surface area. So we in using passwordless authentication, we actually want to eliminate the bad things about passwords. So that is like writing down the password or forgetting the password or remembering the password or whatever. So reusing it, typing it over and let's say I wanted to say, and for example, at the airport, but no airports today, at least for some time. But nevertheless, when you type a password or when you make it available somehow, it's acceptable to prying eyes, and so we want to prevent that by that. So today we're in the middle of the path, which is actually the next step is transition to using strong authentication instead of passwords, and then the fourth one will be eliminate passwords completely from identity directory set. That would be the ultimate step. We are not here today, and then we are in somewhere in between 2 and 3. But we are getting closer very much. So this is one screenshot taken from my infographic from Yubico. So thank you, Yubico, for that. It's just some statistics for that and some trivia. So it's a lot of IT professionals actually say that they're using Password Manager, which is also an effective tool, but 42 actually use that. And I would say more than 42, at least in my experience, rely on sticky notes. So have you ever seen the sticky note on the monitor? And even better, be at the bottom of the keyboard. And or at the bottom part of the desk, and so on. So losing keys, losing passwords, losing everything is also a challenge. And a few years ago, a devastating statistics was that worldwide, just 5% or 7% of the administrators were using multi-factor authentication. That was back in the days where password MFA was you had to pay for. Today, fortunately enough, Microsoft wants to push the MFA to all the users. So MFA today is free for Azure and Microsoft 365 user. It has been before even for administrative users. And I've heard once, while the MFA was we had to pay for it, so why don't we actually make everyone administrator, and then we will have MFA free for all? Yeah, that would be that would of course not very wise to do, but anyway, we don't have to worry about these things today, since the MFA is free for everyone. Multi-factor unlock is also available for physical devices, not just for on Windows 10, actually, not just for Azure AD. And there are some requirements, of course, for Windows Hello for Business. Microsoft is heavily using and relying on Windows Hello for Business for multi-factor authentication. So if Microsoft as a organization actually has a strong support and believe in what it kind of security it gives you, so we should be trustful as well. Trust in these. So the requirements here for multi-factor unlock, on if you want to implement it on the devices, we will just mention it here, but we will focus on passwordless authentication in Azure for the cloud. These are the Windows Hello for Business. You have to have it hybrid on-prem. So Azure AD or hybrid Azure AD, and the device can be has to be joined, of course. The Windows 10 version 7009 or newer, and some Bluetooth, even if that's optional if you have the key that is actually that it has the if it has if you have one of the keys that supports Bluetooth authentication as well. And there are other keys like NFC, etc., etc. Then there is today Windows natively actually only supports the use of the single credential, like the password, PIN, fingerprint, face, and setting, etc. So if any of these credentials are compromised, then the attacker actually can gain access. So Windows 10 actually offers MFA, or multi-factor authentication, device unlock, by actually extending that Windows Hello with trusted signals. So we who can take advantage of that. So just don't worry, I will show you how it works. Just a few housekeeping things at the beginning, and in an introduction, and then we will see how it works. So who can actually take advantage of multi-factor unlock? For, well, anyone who cares about the security. So those who have expressed that pins alone do not meet their security needs, because you've seen probably using pin along with your password. You might wonder why is pin more secure than a password on and why is that even an option on a Windows PC? Because if you type a PIN, you are not typing a password. First of all, what does it mean? So if you type a password, you probably have your device domain joined or authenticated. So if I steal your password, I can go with your username and password wherever I want and authenticate. But if I've stolen your PIN, that PIN is only valid for your device, which is actually probably always in your possession. And there that factor actually reduces the attack surface. So if I have your PIN, I have the only option that I have is to actually get my hands on your laptop. But if I have your password, I can go anywhere in the world actually and log into the cloud. So pins are inherently better, but the step forward is actually having the even passwordless or pinless authentication. So you actually have something physical to protect that is protecting you, and you have to have also the that physical thing like the USB key or mobile device to actually unlock the device and not the whole cloud. So anyone who actually cares about security and want to prevent people from sharing credentials, and if the organizations are to comply with the regulatory two-factor authentication policy. So, for example, it's some highly sensitive information, and organizations that are part of the military, government, and so on, solutions need to use that, etc., etc. And this is done by enabling in group policy if you want to set it up on the devices. But anyway, passwordless authentication for Azure AD has three options. So we have Windows Hello for Business, so we can use camera. We can use Microsoft Authenticator app, which is great application, which is free, available for mobile devices, and it's getting better and better. Recently, it received an update where you have to actually where you have the option to use your fingerprint and to authenticate when you're opening when starting the application, and it has protection for taking screenshots, for example. And the third one is the FIDO2 security keys, which are the physical keys that conform to the standard. And these are the three options that we have. So which one we should use? So there is the inconvenience and convenience actually of using any of the three, and there is some high and low security level of using these. So passwordless just passwords are offering low security, and these are, yes, let's say convenient to use, and but low security. Why? Because we have a lot of sites. Then it's not good to have actually one password, the same for all the sites, all the resources, because if you lose that one and the bad person actually is in possession of your password, it can log in whatever resource that is using that same password, of course. And the better thing in higher security is password and two-factor authentication. So we need to enter the password, and then we need to challenge these. So this is better, it's more secure, but it's slightly inconvenient because, because it adds another step to the authentication. And yes, we humans are people are very tough in this case. So if it adds additional 10 seconds to our to waiting to log in, that it's an inconvenience. So we don't have patience for that. So that's why we have passwordless authentication, because it's really faster, a lot faster than typing a password and authenticating again with typing a PIN or whatever. Passwordless authentication actually gives us the commodity of passwords, and but high security of passwords plus two-factor authentication security authentication. So it's a little bit better. So requirements for passwordless security key sign-in. It's having the Azure MFA, which is free. Everyone can have that. We need to enable combined security information registration preview. What is that? I'll show you what is that in a few moments. So it's just a click in the portal. And then we have to have compatible FIDO2 security keys. And of course, a compatible device, for example, like Windows 10 1903. So if we want to use WebAuth to authenticate through webs and apps and services. So we have also a prerequisite to also have that browser that supports such protocols. But there's no problem with that, since every modern browser today supports that. For example, like Edge, Chrome, Firefox, and Safari. And by the way, New Edge is built on the Chrome engines. It's really good. And stable, and a lot of features, and updated regularly. So I suggest that you use Edge. It's really good and secure and convenient and fast, and has a lot of good features that other lack. And we need that. So just let's take a little bit technical overview. Just skip through how it works using FIDO2 security key, a physical key. So when we plug the key into the computer, so Windows detects the key and actually sends an authentication request. So if it's for example, if it's using the FIDO2 to authenticate. So of course, Azure AD actually sends back a confirmation, and then the user completes the gesture to unlock the private key stored in the key security in the device. So actually, then the user is obtained the token from the Azure AD, since it's chosen what to authenticate with, and then the Azure AD actually verifies the signed challenge using the FIDO2 public key. So we had actually what we had to do in this case, we plugged in the device, we plugged in the key, we chose to which account we want to sign in, for example, in the I'll show that later. And then we need to touch physically the key. So we need to touch the key with their finger, and where actually that's the challenge that is needed to be completed in order to successful login. So actually the physical presence is needed, and usually if you take care of your keys, of course, it's that you have to you're the only one actually who can log in. And what are the keys that we use FIDO2 security keys? There's a list of these keys and FIDO key providers. I've listed only the ones and highlighted only the ones sorry, that I've been using. Well, I've been using also some of the Mult ones, but these are the ones that I have. Ubico and Trust Key Solution, which is the former AWN, and there's the list of the URLs of these vendors. So first of all, I'm gonna demo with Ubico, which is the these are the Ubico's two of the latest keys, the USB-A and USB-C. Ubico is a local company, so it has offices in Karlvegen, Tieturi. So you can also type in the you'll find the exact address on the website as well. And there's also Fashion that has a little bit more different tools, different keys like different tools, different keys like Bluetooth and NFC authentication as well, and some varieties. And then there's the AWVM as well. So, but I've been using the actual Ubico keys for this purpose. So let's take a look first how it works how these this passwordless authentication actually work. So let's go quickly and there, and where it is. Where's that? Oh, there's here. So first of all, you can also enable multi-factor authentication. Let's go and quickly see how it works. Actually, how can you enable that? And for your users, so I'm going to sign in here. Let's say, okay, this one, admin, of course, and then type in password, sign in. So you can access your multi-factor authentication portal either through Office 365 portal or through the Azure portal. It doesn't matter. It's the same. So if you go to the Azure Active Directory, and if you go to the users, let's say, and we can see that the user, which name is Megan. Let's say I will use Megan, for example, or whatever. When you click on that user, then you have, let's open this in full screen. That user has also where's that? Okay, let me see that if it has the assignments, authentication methods assigned. So we need to actually go here and see the require re-register and revoke MFA sessions. Let's I think this one Megan has already installed it. Let's pick Alex and see what is Alex's take on this. So authentication methods, okay, required registration. Let's go quickly to Contoso and see the security part. So security part, first of all, we have named locations here. named locations is locations where can we set up the secure locations for the MFA challenge. So let's go and configure MFA Trusted IPs first. So this is where you actually can see the multi-factor authentication settings. So first of all, you can it's advisable that you configure trusted IPs for locations that will be granted to skip multi-factor authentication for the requests that come from these addresses or these address ranges. And also, I would recommend that you also allow users to remember MFA challenge on their devices they trust for some time. Probably not 90, probably not 365, but at least give the user some possibility to actually take off the burden of re-authenticating, because it will actually it will produce the opposite effect if the users do require MFA challenge for every minute or every hour. So put it like 7 days or 15 days, whatever. But if you have the possibility, if you have Azure Active Directory plans, P1 or P2, that just use conditional access to actually steer the configure the multi-factor authentication in right way. So while the users will be free for re-authenticating for, let's say, 90 days or I don't know, 15 days, then once the logic behind the intelligence figures out that the user is compromised or something is wrong, it will be asked for re-authentication despite the days that you've entered here. So that's the right way. How can we do that? And then there's also, let's close this. So these are the locations. And if we have a FIDO keys, if we have obtained a physical keys, then first we need to go right here in the user settings. Well, actually in the manage user feature preview settings. That's one of the prerequisites, and select users can use the combined security information registration experience. So that's what we need to turn on. So that is the required option. And the second thing that we have to do is go to security and then see the authentication methods blade here, where we have to actually well, we have three things. So the passwordless authentication, actually using physical keys, is this one, FIDO2 security key. And if we want to use Microsoft Authenticator passwordless sign-in, then we will use this one. I would strongly suggest not to use text message, because the text messages can be easily spoofed more easily than these two. So this is the least secure option here, and it should be just for testing, or I don't know which purpose other than that, or fallback, but actually it's the least secure. Just bear in mind that it's the least secure, then I don't recommend it. And if you want to use these two, you have to first enable it. So FIDO2 security keys, you have the possibility actually to enable it. So when you click enable, then you have the possibility to target all users or select users, which I suggest that you do. So just try the passwordless authentication first when you're setting it up on the users and selected users. So like the IT users or whatever users that are being used for just testing this. So do not deploy place to all the organization, but just select few users. I will, for the sake of simplicity, I will put this here, all users, but don't do that. Select users, test it, and then deploy it gradually. So add users here in groups while you are testing it. And then there's also the possibility, once you do that, to allow self-service setup. And then also, then you can enforce key restrictions. Each key has its own, each key vendor and key type of the specific vendor has its own key, a key AA GUID. So it's a value that identifies the specific type of a key. So let's say Yubico version 4 has one AA GUID, and version 5 has the other one, and the version 5 version with the USB-C port connector has the different one, and so on. So if you want to limit the use of just some keys, then you will use that here. And I won't enforce key restrictions, and you can also, yes, restrict specific keys. So if the organization or government or military or whatever, some governing body, or where you personally want to restrict specific keys because they don't conform to a certain standard or don't have the required standard that you require, so you can block these and not use them. So for example, you can only use Yubico keys or I don't know, Fashion keys and so on. So I will click save here and enable the FIDO2 security key for all users, and then use the Microsoft Authenticator passwordless sign-in option here as well. So I will click enable, yes, and save this. But first of all, let's just see, well, okay, we're good with the time. We still have to go. Let's just go and see the enable now and log in with the options and see the options, what options are available when we don't have passwordless authentication available. So let's just postpone this for a few minutes, and then let's go to see what the options are here available for the authentication here. So let's go to let's say to the admin in this case, view account. This account has these options here. So my account is opening. Excellent. So security info. So when you go to my account, it's myaccount.microsoft.com for the login user. Then you go to the security info, and then this is where you actually add a multi-factor authentication. Yes, password. Oh, is it Megan logged in? Yes, it is. So copy and paste password. Great. So the security info for the specific user probably are these. So we can add Authenticator app, and we can add a phone or email. So this is not passwordless authentication. This is the second factor or multi-factor authentication. So this is the Authenticator app. So this is different from the one that you'll see when you enable passwordless authentication method. So if you have not set up the authentication method with the Authenticator app, it's the you have to choose it, then click add, then install the app if you already haven't do so, then click next, and then actually click next, and then you have to scan the QR code. Once you scan the QR code, then you are able to add that to your device. So I will use that to scan for the Megan. So I will use this in my Authenticator app, and here I am authenticating with the app. So scanning this, and this has been recognized. of course. And when it's done, I will click next, and this is it. So it's been added to my list, and approve signing. Yes, I will click approve, and then let's try it out. So the multi-factor authentication is set up, but not passwordless authentication. So let's do that right now. So we have Microsoft Authenticator, and that's good. So let's go back and go and enable here FIDO2 security keys, and let's say yes, and save, and then Microsoft Authenticator passwordless sign in, and then enable, and then say yes. So you have two options here for the using Microsoft Authenticator, and this is the default sign-in method, notification, and actually now you have also the app or hardware token as well. So let's go and see what it is. Yes, everything is okay. So this was set up and saved, of course, enabled. So let's just quickly take a look at this one. Okay, so that's okay. So we have MFA enabled here, and let's go quickly and refresh this one. So we can add quickly also the MFA authentication approved sign-in request. Of course, since I've enabled the authenticator, I have to approve it on my phone, and that's it. Excellent. So now I can add a different method as well. Let me see that. Let me delete this one and actually change it. Edit account and actually delete. Okay, just a second. Come on. Why it's not deleting it? Let me do that. All right. Sign out everywhere. Let's sign out and then close this one and add another account. Well, actually sign in again into this account. So let's go quickly back and see whether it's done. Okay. Come on. It's a good idea to close Windows. Let's close the window and open window again, a private one, just to be on the safe side. And then go in here. So let's go into the Azure and see and log in with the administrative account. This is the one, and password is okay. Stay signed in, no. And let's just check if it was refreshed. So in the Azure Active Directory, then under user, under the security, so sometimes it needs to propagate, and let's just see if it's still here. If it's still here, yes, there it is. Excellent. So okay, then let's go and sign in with the Megan and with the different account. Let's try and log in with a non-administrative account here with the other one. Okay, the password is here. Copy and paste. Sorry about the sound issues. Sorry about the sound issues. Apparently, sometimes it's um, and just a second. And oh, there it is. Okay. And yes, FIDO is actually FIDO is fast identity online, and in second iteration, fast identity online. Let's go with Megan and view account for the Megan and see how can we add a MFA account for the Megan if that works. If that won't work, and that happens sometimes since this is the demo account, and I've been abusing that demo account a lot, and then enabling, disabling, and so on. So let's hope that I've cleaned the keys and reset them. Okay, no items to display, so we can add the Authenticator app again. Let's see if it's okay. Next and next, let's go do it again. And add account, add work account, click again. Account added. Megan approved, and that's okay. So, which method would you like to use to sign in? Microsoft Authenticator notification, or Authenticator app, or hardware token or code? So confirm. So that's it. So once we actually have done this, let's go and log out again and see how Megan will sign in using the Authenticator account. So first of all, still signing out. Okay, there it is. Close and then open again. So that's the default how the IT people repair things. They just close the things and open again if they don't work. So I've done this here again. So Azure and Megan is here. Let's go and type in the Megan password again. Next, and then there's the copy paste and sign in. Stay signed in. Okay, I will say no, and it remembered me, but I didn't want to remember me. Let's go just quickly and just sign out again and then sign in. So I'm missing an option here. Come on. Okay. Sign in with security key. Okay. Tap your security key, but okay, then the security key was not actually cleared, so I will switch to the other one. And for some reason, it's not recognize? No. But then I will have the fallback method here, which is using my own account. Yeah, that's strange. Sorry for the inconvenience, but the USB keys. Okay, I received an error for some reason. Let's go back and then actually just use the just use my my own. Let's go here and use that one instead. All right. So where it is my account. Let's go to the portal actually and log out. Log out of every account. Okay, that's here. So I have the options. I've set up the passwordless authentication on my account here. So let's go and try to sign in. So to see the options that we have. So first of all, this one. This is where the actual challenge of the key that was registered is used. I hope can you confirm that you see the actual Windows security screen? Sometimes there has been an issue with that one. I just want to be sure that you are using that, that you are seeing that. So thank you. So you have the options when you've set up correctly the Windows Hello, and if you're using Windows Hello, so you have the option to use the authenticate with a PIN with a face. So since the camera is in use, it cannot be accessed, but I have the option to use PIN or use the security key. So if I use the security key, actually it prompts me to actually tap the security key on the reader or insert it into USB ports. So I'm just popping the security key in. So this one works. This one works because this key was registered. And yes, so I have to enter the security key PIN, which I've entered before. Enter, and all I need to do is touch the security key. So I'm putting my finger on the key, and I was able to go in and to sign in. So the passwordless authentication, actually I didn't use any password to log in. I've just used the PIN, and I've used the actual USB A 5th generation YubiKey from Yubico. Pretty lightweight, and it has a little bit here a surface where it's lit up in green, where you actually put your finger and touch it. So, and that's where you actually how you challenge it. And then if you go to the if you click here and then see the account, you'll see that I also have security info here. Let's go here and see that. Come on. A little bit slow today, but at the end it will work. Okay, so a lot of different sign-in methods. So default sign-in methods is authenticator notification. We can change that, but I can use the phone. I can use the authenticator hardware code, and I can use the security key that I've added. So I can delete it and see the actual its code, and I can add the method once I've actually added turned on the option. So probably it needed a little bit to propagate actually to and to set up the key. So what the options are here compared to the one that I've used before. So it's the Authenticator app, alternate phone or app password, or the security key, which is the physical key. I can add these, and that actually makes my authentication here valid and available for using that. So we can I can also use the authenticator and just use the notification as a passwordless sign in. So I just have to put a fingerprint on it, authenticate with it, and practically without inserting any passwords, sign in in my account. And what else do we have? Yes, we have also the options. Let's just show you the options for the Yubico keys, where this is the YubiKey manager in here. So you can see the number and then the firmware and all the applications that can be used and the interfaces that it supports. So this key actually supports USB and near field contact. So one-time password, FIDO2, private passwords, OpenPGP, OpenOath, and others, and applications. So let's say one-time password, you can set it up with short touch or long touch. This one is configured, or for example, you can use it as a FIDO2. Then there's a pin here already set, or any kind of management. You can store that the certificates in there and so on. So it's a very nice key and very versatile and very lightweight and easy to set up. I'll suggest that, and it's not even expensive. So I'm not personally endorsing any of the keys because but I like this one personally. It's okay, and even others are okay. That doesn't imply that the others don't work or are not valid, but I've started using this first, and then I'm kind of biased toward it, let's say, and since it's local, yes, and the passwordless authentication is it's pretty painless, and let's say we just need to have the key carried with ourselves, and that's it. So whether we have the options, for example, if we have this one, which is the USB-C version 5, you see that these two little golden pins on the side, that's where you actually pinch the key and authenticate like this, because this is where the physical touch is here detected, as similarly as the one where you have to touch physically the golden plate in here. So very light, both of the keys, not very expensive, very good, bring very good security. And what's even more important, you can also you can also install the multi-factor authentication and use the keys in your Microsoft accounts. These doesn't have to be Office 365 or Azure accounts. So you can easily set up a one-time password, just memorize it, type it in whatever complex password it is on your Yubico key, and then when you touch the key, then the password will be entered automatically. So practically, it's not fully, let's say, natively passwordless authentication, because it's still you are still required to enter the password, but in fact you're not typing the password by yourself, but actually letting the key type password for you. So and you can easily forget that key or write it somewhere down on your home, at your home, and far away from the prying eyes. So in this case also, the accounts in this case that are not using natively the passwordless authentication can be steered toward and use that kind of passwordless authentication without typing the password. So actually, you just, like I said, you memorize the key, the password on the key itself, and then when you touch the key, it will enter the password in the field. So that's where you have the possibility to have very complex passwords and secure passwords, and not trying to remember all the complexity of the password. That's very good. This is an overview actually how it works. We didn't get any into high detail actually, into highly technical detail how it works. Yes, this is the OTP. This is one short and long touch. It supports that I've mentioned before. So practically you have the possibility to have two passwords in here for different purposes. And at the end, you can use different keys as well. So not just one key, but you can have multiple ones. And this was the overview of the password authentication without too much technical details.